Welcome back to our Elite Professionals in Coaching podcast, or otherwise known as EPIC. It's certainly a pleasure to host you again today. My name is Chris Aird. I'm not only the business owner, but the chief business consultant for With Purpose Business and Leadership Consulting. I want to come to you today with a pretty big word that we seem to throw around without a whole lot of intentionality behind it. And this word is really, really important, not only in our businesses, but in our homes and our families, as well as society. And again, this word has been thrown around. I think there's been some misconceptions about the word. And there's also been well, however you think of this word, there's been some both sides of the fence, if you will, on what should be the right thing, what is the wrong thing, what this should look like, all based upon one's perspective. The word that I'm talking about today is leadership and leadership development, to be more specific, developing one's skill set when it comes to leading. And it's not just, leading with charisma or leading with intentionality. I'm literally talking about the opportunity to develop people around you, whether it's yourself, in your business, in your community, or at church or at home. Leadership is absolutely important. Now, I remember being taught about leadership, probably not being that word used, but I remember being shown just growing up as a kid, and more importantly, as a teenager, literally watching my dad, for the most part, investing in me, leadership skills, pulling out the abilities, or basically tapping into untapped potential that he knew I had. And with that, it came from my very first job working out at a summer camp, and people tapping me on the shoulder to do different types of things, to be involved with other things that maybe my peers weren't not involved with, not because I was better, but because there was a sense of responsibility that came with that leadership style, with that leadership development, if you will. Sometimes I think that people develop a little bit quicker or not as quick as others, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm watching time and time and time again, especially over this past year, probably more so important this past year, about companies not thinking that they can provide leadership development to their staff, to their employees, to even themselves. And I'm going to go through this today on this podcast real briefly, real quick, because it sits home with me. And you'll see this sign above my left shoulder, your right, if you're looking at it, and this is backwards. It's on leadership. And it's about being a lighthouse that shows the way, if you will. And my master's degree is in organizational leadership. And it's basically an MBA built on some steroids with counseling and psychology around it. Why? Because we're dealing with people. And so when we think about running a business, when we think about the people that are our greatest asset, which is our employees, our coworkers, our vendors, our clients, that's the number one pillar that we teach about here at With Purpose. And so I want to bring this to you. It's coming from my heart to your ears. And when we think about leadership development in of itself, we think of so many different things, and maybe you don't even know the different types of leadership styles that are out there. Just to name a few, there's probably 7, 9 of them. It's something that I'm very well aware of, but I won't bore you with the details. But you can have different styles of leadership, such as charismatic leadership. You can have servant leadership. You can have hierarchical leadership. You can have situational leadership. All these things are important, just to name a few, because of what we need to do within that situation. Does that make sense? So when we think about leading at home, our leadership may or may not be the same as when we're in business, or when we're an employee of a business, or when we're in community with each other as a leader, if you will. And let me just say this too. There's a difference between managing people and leading people. There's a difference between management and leadership. We need both. We need both. And sometimes leadership can be management, and management can be leaders. It really kind of goes in tune with each other, in concert. And so we need the holistic approach when it comes to running a business. However, with that being said, what I'm hearing about, to go back to something I said a couple moments ago, is that I'm finding and listening to a lot of businesses that say that they don't have the time or the money to invest in leadership development. Okay, I'm good with that. I see where you're coming from on that. I recognize that you truly may not have the financial resources to develop your employees, to develop your next set of leaders within a company or a community or your church. Or how about this, even at home, to really kind of focus some time. But I think that there's more resources that we're talking about, because it's not just money. It's not just what's sitting in the bank. There is a commitment, there's a cost when we talk about developing people. There's time. It takes time. The moment you and I become a parent, if you're a parent or an uncle, aunt and uncle, whatever the case might be, there's a cost to raising a child, right? There's time involved. Yes, there's financial, but there's time. Even on your darkest, deep days, you don't want to spend time with your child or someone else that's around you. And yet they're looking for you to give wisdom, to impart something of value to them. That's leadership, right? It's doing the best that you know how for the people that are receiving that. And more importantly, it's communicating and connecting in a way that that person needs to hear it, receive it. So, for example, if I'm having a bad day and one of my children come up to me, or an employee or a client even, and they come up to me, I literally need, at that moment, I have to make the decision of whether I'm going to communicate with that individual or group of people or not. The moment that I choose to communicate with them, I now need to go a step further and connect with them. Connect them. I can't just share with them, impart words to them. I want some action in return. And so I've got to figure out the way in which to connect with them that allows them to hear what I'm saying or what they need to be told, as well as the practical application. There needs to be accountability with that. That's what helps the connectivity take place. I've got to be able to relate to the person that's in front of me. And at the moment I'm doing that, I am leading them. Does that make sense? I'm not managing them, I'm leading them. They've come to me, they've asked for advice, they've asked for wisdom, they've asked how to do something, they've asked for a good listening ear, whatever the case might be. And at that point, I am leading them. If I wanted to manage them, I would say, well, you need to check off these boxes and go on with your day. Have a great one. Leading them, for me and my leadership style, I'm going to share with you exactly what I just shared with you about being that listening ear, being relational with them, finding out what makes them tick, all of that other great stuff. But I'm also going to follow up with accountability and make sure that they're doing well. Is there anything else that I can do for them or with them? Right? So when I hear about people saying that they can't afford it, they can't afford to do anything with leadership development or employee development. And I'm not talking trust falls. What I'm talking about is really engaging with people, kind of me sharing with people on how to coach people when I'm not around, right? And so that becomes leadership as well, when I'm able to provide wisdom and then they get to reciprocate that as well. So when I hear them say that I can't afford that, what I also interpret that as, and I could be wrong, but I'm okay with that. I hear mainly, I can't afford it financially. I can't afford it time-wise either. We're too busy. We've got a lot going on. They can't afford an hour a week or 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week, whatever the case might be. And at the same time, then we really miss out on the opportunity, because here is someone that is working for you, that's a part of your family, part of your team, part of your community, and we can't spend intentional time with them, quality time, in developing them and tapping into their untapped potential. Folks, if you guys have been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you'll understand and recognize that this is the number one pillar in any business. It's number one because without people, we don't have a business. Even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're a micro business, a micro company, and even a small business, by the definition of the Small Business Administration, that's less than 500 employees. So if you're a small business and you don't have the time to get to know your people, how good is your business going to be? It's only going to be as good as the people that you're investing in. Agreed? Maybe, maybe not. That's up to you. I would agree with that statement. Not because I said it, but because I believe it and I've experienced it. There's been lots of times, not only ranging from my dad investing in me, but my time with the military when I show them what I can do and they've got the eyes open and their ears are listening and they're watching and they're saying, this guy's got it or this girl's got it. And when I take my leadership style and I go into another business and I'm able to help transform a team that I'm on, right? That's what team players do. That's what leaders do. And it's not just my life. You can look at it for any great football, baseball, sports team whatsoever. The greater teams are because there's leaders on the team playing together, acting like a team. And there's always at least one person making sure that they are connecting with people on that team, making sure that they're connecting with the people in that business. It is so vitally important to get the right people on the right bus, sitting in the right seat. It's leadership. It's finding the right people that are going to make you better. They're going to make that business better. That's going to provide a better service, provide customer service to people, provide a better product. Why? Because we're engaging together, not just a solo team of one, but the leader gets to cultivate that, especially in the workplace environment. Maybe we can say, and I've heard people say this, we don't have the staffing to send our people off site. I get it. I get it. So here's what I want to share with you today. First of all, it's important to overcome any objection. It's really, really important. Why? Because the people under your command, the people under your leadership, even if you're a leader yourself, it's absolutely important. And if you're a leader yourself, you will recognize the truth in what you're hearing, because you didn't get to this place without someone else investing in you, did you? You didn't come on your own. Maybe you think you did, but you didn't. You had people literally cheering you on. You had people that were investing time and resources into you to make a better version of you. And this is what we need to be doing in our businesses. We're missing out on it, folks. We've got a lot of people who recognize that people don't care about them. We can change that. Every single person listening to this podcast right now, everyone listening to this on social media, you and I both can change this. How? We do it as a team. We do it as a team. We recognize our weaknesses. We find those strengths that we're missing out on in someone else, and we bring them onto our team. We share with them our vision. We share with them our mission. We share with them the heartbeat of the organization, and we allow them to move forward. The leadership development does a few things. Here's what I want to tackle today. Leadership development, the way in which I bring it to the table, the way that I've taught it at a local university, the way that I've implemented in not only my own family, but my business and with our clients, is it's not a cookie cutter program. It's an opportunity. We design the opportunity to address any urgent problems. We've got to tackle those first, right? We've got to get people now seeing the vision of the company with the owner or with anybody else. So we're going to design this opportunity to address or tackle any of the urgent problems. You may not think that there's an urgent problem. However, when I speak with people, they speak a little bit more freely when I'm in front of them and the owner of the business or the manager is not around. And they were more than willing to share what's going on. And then they have ideas. They have great ideas. In fact, I was just at a meeting this morning with a client, meeting with the employees. The business owner was not around. And we literally, in less than an hour, we had started to solve some of the challenges that had been taking place in this company for a little more than a year. A lot of it was just about optimizing the business. And so when we created this space for the employees to come and share, and I listened with a pair of listening ears, and I engage them with questions, I'm now connecting with them. And all of a sudden the employees go, this is great. This is what we want to do. Great. Let's go talk to the owner. Let's go talk to your boss and make sure that we can do this. I love the idea, he or she said, let's do it. And by the time I had left, they had already implemented 2 things already. Why? Because we had spent intentional time with them. So we want to focus this opportunity. We want to design the opportunity to solve some urgent challenges that are taking place. Here's the other thing. We want to scale, or we want to focus on growing people, not just growing the company. We want to focus it on growing the people. Because you know what? When your people grow, so will the company. When your people grow, so will the company. And when the company grows, you have a bigger footprint in your community. And now you're reaching more and more clients or customers. You're able to service more, which means now they're growing because of the service and or the product that you are providing. So we want to take a look at not just growing the business, but we want to grow the people. Because again, when we grow the people, the business and the community grows alongside of it. I'll say it this way too. We talk about continuing education. Um, we've got to give real life practical applications in training people. I'm a fan of higher education. I've got it. I've taught it. At the same time, I don't know that you can really replace real life challenges, situations. In fact, that's what I would bring into the classroom. Real life situations as a team, as the classroom students and myself, we would start to solve some of these challenges that maybe the school was having, or a classmate was having, or a business was having. Why? Because here it's so important. It's so important that we bring people together in community. That's the job of a leader, is to carry on the mission, whether I'm here or not. And so I want to reproduce myself. I want to give the talents, that practice the skill sets of those things that if I was not here, someone else would carry the mantle forward. So by bringing real life application into a situation and then asking people to dive in and solve the challenges, it gives them ownership of what's going on. It gives them the ability to say, oh, I can be out from behind my desk instead of just pushing paper all day. I have a voice at the table. And isn't that important, to have a voice at the table? I think it is. Here's another thing. We help encourage, so as we're growing people, what that does is it develops the culture of the workplace. It develops the culture of the workplace. It becomes better, it becomes stronger, it becomes deeper, it becomes more well maintained, it becomes even streamlined in of its processes. Why? Because people are functioning on all cylinders, because they feel appreciated, they feel valued. Wouldn't you want that in your community? Wouldn't you want that in your business, your family? It's really, really absolutely important that we focus on the people. These people were made of skin and organs and various different parts of the body that make us up as a human being. We also have emotions. We have a skill set. We have a brain to think things through. Let's use that for all of that from each and every single person. And you know what? People are going to come in at different capacities, and that's okay, because we need to value what they do bring. I was once given the analogy, and I want to share this with you in closing. I was once given the analogy that various flower vases, the flower vases are normally clear or they're colored, and there's different styles or types of vases, as well as the width of the flower vase. And you can have one that it's just maybe that small, it will hold only one good, perfectly good flower, one good rose. Or you have a vase that will hold bouquets of flowers, right? Do they all do the same job? Do they all hold a flower to the best of their ability? Yes, they do. And we don't put down the one that can hold one rose or one flower because the vase that can hold the bouquet is so much larger. We don't put that one down. So why do we do that as people? My encouragement to you today would be to find the value, find a way to value not only yourself, but your employees, your business. And by growing your business, you really absolutely need to spend time growing your people. Find ways to develop them. And if you can't have it, or if you don't know how to do that, or you don't have the time, feel free to contact me. Feel free to reach out. There's many, many different tools. There's different assessments. There's different opportunities that can be afforded your people. And watch what they do. Watch what they do. Listen to what they say when we give them the opportunity to develop as leaders. Watch. what they do, watch, listen to what they say when we develop them as leaders. We do this for our children. Why can't we do it for employees? We do it in community. Why can't we do it for our business? Right? Are you with me? I hope you have a great day. My name is Chris Yared. It's been a pleasure to host you today on this topic of leadership development. Feel free to comment, send me an email, call me, whatever the case might be. Happy to answer any questions you might have or give you some ideas, if you will. But again, it's been a pleasure to host you. Have a great day and live with purpose.